People are not just tired anymore, they are emotionally drained. Every morning, millions of people wake up feeling empty before the day even begins. They smile in public, but suffer in silence. They answer texts they don't want to answer, go to jobs they no longer believe in, stay in relationships that feel like performance, and pretend they're fine while their mind is quietly collapsing. We live in a world that never stops demanding more attention, more energy, more success, more validation. And the scariest part, most people don't even realize they're exhausted until they lose their passion, their patience, their purpose, and sometimes themselves. This isn't just about stress. This is about a generation that has forgotten how to rest without guilt, how to feel without hiding, and how to live without constant pressure. Tonight, we're going to uncover why so many people feel emotionally numb, mentally overloaded, and spiritually disconnected, and why ignoring it may be the most dangerous thing of all. The modern world has created a dangerous illusion that being constantly available means being valuable. A man wakes up, and before his feet touch the ground, his mind is already under attack. Notifications, expectations, deadlines, comparisons. He is told to provide more, achieve more, control more, but nobody teaches him how to recover. From the outside, women often see silence, distance, or emotional withdrawal. But inside many men, there is a war between pressure and exhaustion. They are carrying responsibilities they rarely talk about, because somewhere along the way, they learned that expressing weakness makes them less respected. The human mind was never designed to process endless noise without rest. Yet every day, men are absorbing stress from work, relationships, finances, social media, and the constant fear of falling behind. Women experience emotional exhaustion differently, often through emotional labor, caregiving, and carrying invisible emotional weight. But many men experience it through isolation. They suffer quietly because society rewards men for endurance, not honesty. And when a man loses the ability to slow his mind down, he doesn't just become tired. He becomes emotionally numb, disconnected, impatient, and difficult to recognize, even to the people who love him most. The most dangerous part is that emotional exhaustion rarely looks dramatic. At first, it looks like shorter conversations, less laughter, delayed replies, a man sitting in a room with people he loves while mentally feeling 1,000 miles away. The digital world has made communication instant, but genuine connection has never felt more rare. Every day, people scroll through thousands of lives, opinions, photos, and emotions, yet many still go to sleep feeling unseen. Men, especially, are living in a strange contradiction. They are constantly connected to everyone, yet emotionally connected to almost no one. A man can have hundreds of followers, endless group chats, and daily conversations online while silently feeling isolated inside his own mind. From a woman's perspective, this emotional distance can feel confusing, cold, or even intentional, when in reality, many men simply no longer know how to express what they truly feel. The human brain confuses attention with connection, and social media has mastered that weakness. Men are consuming endless comparisons. Stronger men, richer men, more successful men, until their self-worth becomes tied to performance instead of identity. Women face a different pressure online, often connected to validation, appearance, and emotional expectations, but both are suffering from the same deeper problem. People are performing their lives instead of living them. Conversations become shorter, attention spans weaker, and emotional honesty more uncomfortable. The tragedy is that many relationships are no longer built on presence. Two people can sit beside each other, both staring at separate screens, both craving understanding, while neither feels safe enough to speak honestly about the exhaustion building quietly inside them. Modern society has turned exhaustion into a status symbol. People proudly talk about how little they sleep, how busy they are, and how much pressure they carry, as if burnout is proof of importance. Men are especially taught that their value is measured by output, provide more, earn more, achieve more, stay strong no matter how tired you become. From a woman's perspective, many men appear emotionally unavailable or constantly distracted, but often what she is witnessing is a man trapped inside a system that rewards productivity while quietly punishing emotional balance. The dangerous part is that peace has started to look like laziness in a world addicted to constant movement. A man who slows down feels guilty. A man who rests feels unproductive. Many women carry a different form of exhaustion, emotional responsibility, caregiving, and the pressure to keep relationships emotionally alive. Yet both men and women are suffering under the same belief that being overwhelmed means being successful. The result is two exhausted people trying to love each other while running on emotional emptiness. The human mind cannot survive endless pressure without consequences. Eventually, patience becomes frustration, ambition becomes anxiety, and relationships become another task on an already overloaded schedule. People stop listening to each other because their minds are always somewhere else, chasing the next obligation while losing the ability to feel present in the life they are working so hard to build. The biggest emotional crisis today is not that people feel too much, it's that they feel unsafe expressing what they feel. From an early age, many men are taught to control emotions instead of understanding them. Sadness becomes silence. Fear becomes anger. Stress becomes withdrawal. A man learns that if he talks too much about pain, he risks looking weak, unstable, or incapable. So he adapts. He buries emotions under work, distractions, humor, or isolation. From a woman's perspective, this often feels like emotional distance, as if the man no longer cares, when in reality, many men are fighting battles internally that they were never taught to communicate externally. The human mind cannot carry unspoken emotions forever without consequences. Women often express emotional pain through conversation, connection, or vulnerability, while men are more likely to suppress it until it leaks out through frustration, exhaustion, or emotional numbness. The problem is not that men don't feel deeply. The problem is that many men have spent years practicing emotional survival instead of emotional honesty. And over time, suppression becomes identity. The danger of suppressed emotions is that they don't disappear, they transform. Stress turns into impatience. Disappointment turns into emotional detachment. Loneliness turns into quiet resentment. People begin saying, "I'm fine," not because it's true, but because they no longer believe anyone truly wants to hear what's happening behind the mask they wear every day. Modern culture has convinced people that struggling should be hidden at all costs. Everywhere we look, people are presenting polished versions of their lives. Successful careers, perfect relationships, confident personalities, while privately fighting anxiety, exhaustion, and emotional confusion. Men especially grow up believing they must always appear strong, capable, and in control. A man feels pressure to provide financially, stay emotionally steady, solve problems quietly, and never let the world see him breaking. From a woman's perspective, this pressure can make men seem emotionally guarded or difficult to reach. But many men are not avoiding vulnerability because they lack feelings. They are avoiding it because they fear losing respect. The problem with constantly pretending to have it all together is that the human mind was never built to carry pressure without emotional release. Women often experience this pressure differently. Many feel expected to balance emotional support, appearance, career success, relationships, and personal stability all at once. Both men and women are performing strength while secretly craving permission to be honest about how overwhelmed they truly feel. And when two emotionally exhausted people are both pretending to be okay, real connection slowly disappears. The most painful part is that many people no longer know who they are beneath the performance. A man smiles while silently questioning his worth. A woman keeps giving emotionally while feeling unseen herself. People become addicted to looking stable instead of becoming healthy. Conversations stay shallow because honesty feels risky. Emotional exhaustion grows in silence because vulnerability has become something people fear instead of something they trust. Emotional exhaustion rarely arrives as a dramatic breakdown. It builds quietly, one ordinary day at a time, a little more pressure, a little less rest, a few more responsibilities carried in silence. Most men do not wake up one morning completely disconnected from themselves. It happens gradually through years of suppressing stress, ignoring emotional pain, and convincing themselves they just need to push through. From a woman's perspective, the changes can seem subtle at first. He talks less, smiles less, becomes distant without explanation. But underneath that silence is often a man mentally overloaded by expectations he no longer knows how to carry. The human mind keeps score even when the mouth stays quiet. Men are often conditioned to survive emotionally instead of processing emotions in healthy ways. They keep working while exhausted, keep providing while empty, keep pretending to be strong while privately questioning whether anyone notices how much pressure they are under. Women experience emotional exhaustion differently, often through emotional caregiving, constant mental responsibility, and carrying the emotional atmosphere of relationships. Yet both men and women slowly lose pieces of themselves every time they ignore what their mind and body are trying to say. The most dangerous thing about emotional exhaustion is how normal it starts to feel. A man becomes used to stress, so he no longer recognizes peace. A woman becomes used to emotional disappointment, so she lowers her expectations just to avoid conflict. People stop asking if they are happy and start asking if they are functioning. Relationships become maintenance instead of connection. Conversations become routine instead of meaningful. Days begin to feel repetitive, emotionally flat, and strangely empty even when life appears successful from the outside. Silent suffering changes people slowly. It steals patience from fathers, softness from mothers, hope from young men, and emotional security from relationships. A person who once felt deeply can eventually become emotionally numb simply because they spent too long carrying feelings they never released.